Hello and welcome to the Men of Action podcast, where we bring on the best men, the most stellar men, the most attractive men, because they have it in them to be a warrior who felt like a zero until they recognize the hero within them. And today, I got a strongman competition for you, competitor, and he actually went through the strongman, and I believe he plays 11 out of 12 for your first one. He's got a disease that's impacted him and how he's using that story to inspire the nations. We're going to learn more about that. So welcome to the pod, Austin.
Thanks for having me, bro. I'd love to be on these podcasts, man, sharing my story. I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it. This is actually our second time doing this because the first one, you know what, in all honesty, just being transparent, I love your passion. Unfortunately, the audio didn't love your passion because it was kind of glitchy. So, second time's the charm, as they say. So, Austin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I'm from Minnesota. I'm 21 years old. I work in surgery right now, as I post about a little bit on Twitter. That's where you can find me the most at. But my big thing is I was born with it's one of the most rare neurological diseases, but it's very well known. It's called Charcot Marie Tooth Disorder. Some of you might be familiar with that'll tune in here. Basically, what it is it damages the peripheral nerves of like your arms and your legs and your feet and hands. It can even cause like breathing problems. A lot of those symptoms involved are like muscle atrophy and wasting, hammer toes, high arched, rigid feet, a lot of balance problems, instability, even just walking and standing, just a lot of numbness and coldness in the feet and hands, just a lot of quality of life problems that can really hinder you from doing a lot of things. But I never let that stop me. My dad was born with it. It carried down to me and my brother. We grew up wrestling, which was a very tough challenge to get through, being how physical the sport of wrestling and like the world of MMA is.
Right.
We were not the most athletic guys. I'll be honest right now. We struggled a ton going through it. And I eventually had a teammate about 13 years old that just had me get in the weight room with him. He saw some potential in me, wanted me to start going. He picked me up in the mornings and took me there. And I soon realized how much I was very weak in the legs, like with balances. I couldn't even do an air squat, a lunge, or step up, like without falling up literally on my ass. I would literally
Oh my
fall
God.
over. And it just came to a point where I had a lot of confidence issues growing up. I was bullied through high school with it. I grew up with casts and braces on my feet. Um, it just wasn't really, I didn't fit in a lot. I was always that kind of outsider, regardless, even after I lost the casts and braces and just kind of said, hey, we got to tackle this on our own now. This isn't fixing nothing. There's no cure for this. Can't go away. And, I had a big coming to moment as the years went on through high school of like, I need to figure something out here. I never let anything stop me, but it always took a little bit. I was a very slow learner, and it took me till about age 17 to learn how to just do an air squat. And then a couple of years later,
Oh,
just to learn how to lunge without falling over or using something to hold me up with. And that's kind of my big story that I go about. 4 years later, looking on, I'm squatting 300 for reps. I'm lunging with weight for half-mile distances every now and then. Just doing a lot of things that I have people with CMT reaching out to me saying, hey, dude, like science and doctors are saying you shouldn't be able to do this. How are you able to do this? And I really don't have a set answer with them. It's just, I look back on it and all I think of was just one word was grit.
yeah.
That's all it took was just grit and dedication. I just had a no quit mentality because my biggest thing was trying to fit in when I was younger. And being I was kind of the outsider I wasn't very athletic. I would stand out just walking down the hallway and just a lot of things. I wanted to try and fit in. So I did it for a lot of wrong reasons growing up, but now I figured out my reasons why, and I'm starting to see the fruit of it come true of my grit that's came through to it. So now I use that story to inspire other people, and that's just kind of a quick gist of it.
Yeah, I know in one of your tweets, I know it's been a little bit. I know that you were able to speak in front of your church about.
Mhm.
Um, did you speak about CMT or was it something else?
Yeah, so when I really got into faith this last year, when I was just all in on it, I had a family that invited me to church. I eventually met the pastor there. He's just the most hype man you'll ever meet. Great pastor, great man. He said, I want to get to coffee with you one day. And I
Mm.
went over to the church, had coffee with him. He's like, just tell me everything about you. And we proceeded to talk for the next 2 hours just about everything about me and my past and all the struggles I've been through. And growing up how I did. And he just sat there and his eyes were about as big as just dinner plates. He was just like, dude, this is an insane story. He goes, I can just feel God working through us right now. He said, it's crazy. I got a series coming up on people struggling with what they have.
Wow.
And he was like, I want you to speak in front of the church. And I kind of sat there like, really? He goes, yeah, dude, you felt the potential. I want you to speak to people. So I think between 3 services, I spoke to well over 1,000 people on my story.
Hey,
I
way to
just,
go.
just clapping, just getting up and just, they, some people didn't understand it or quite comprehend it, but just seeing me walk, they could understand a little bit like, wow, this guy struggled just to walk, just to ride a
Mhm.
bike, to do anything simple movements that most people are like, how can you not do that? To be able to do
Right.
what I am now more than most people even normal in the gym are doing or physically. So it was really special to be able to do that and seeing the potential of how I can speak in front of people. I just have the mission to speak in front of millions one day on my story because I think I get too close to my story and I sandbag it a lot. I kind of just
Mm.
okay, I brushed off my shoulder. I've been through it, but a lot of people are like, dude, you need to share that out. Like so many people need to hear that story, and I this last year I really drilled it in my head that I do need to share it out a lot more. Seeing how much I've helped people and changed their lives has been like more than money could ever buy or anything else. Just having those compliments come through in the DMs like all the time that I get of how inspiring my story is, like that's just God working, and money could never make up for anything like that.
Yeah, I know. And when we first did this, I know you talked about your feet, but I didn't know about that affects your breathing even, or even your hands.
That's
So
some more
even
yeah, it's some more aggressive, types there. I haven't ever found myself with terrible breathing problems. I have a little bit of asthma with that growing up, but,
sure.
nothing related to it, but some more aggressive cases can lead to breathing problems essentially, and the one thing that, as hard as a mindset as it is to have this, disease is that, I like to think of it as your body's literally wasting away, like crippling
Right.
up, and it's just like that's very hard to have a mindset of continuing to go because a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna waste away regardless. Why even try?" But here I am defying the odds, and I have people even tell me sometimes, "I would have never known you had anything wrong with you if you didn't tell me." And that's like the coolest compliment to get,
Yeah.
knowing finally getting somewhere with it.
Oh, especially like how tall you stand up too. I mean, I see you like a lot of pictures and you're not hunched over, you're not, on your knees or anything. You're like standing up firm, straight, confident. And especially when I've seen you, deadlift and everything like that. I mean, besides I've seen but that's kind of tricky because some legs do shake depending on like how heavy the weight is. So it's like you would think that's just relatively normal.
Hmm. Yep,
So
absolutely. Yep, those kind of movements were I had to have a lot of patience. God definitely taught me a lot of patience through those movements because what you see on my social media now was not what it was even a year ago. Like it was like I was just in the rookie numbers of trying to just figure out how to do this with a bar. And
right.
yeah, it's a lot of great progress, man.
That's just incredible, like how much grit you have in doing wrestling and everything.
Hmm.
And that's something we didn't really discuss also last time is, getting bullied in school. I
Hmm.
mean, you're a very friendly guy, very outgoing. I mean, I know it, right? That's very stereotypical, right?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you got bullied? Like I would have never have thought like you're tall, you're good looking, and you look really strong, right? I know
Yeah.
in high school kids can be mean and just cruel, especially
Yeah.
working. I used to work
Absolutely.
in high school, so they're not the nicest, but then again, they're people, right? They're just small versions of adults.
Yeah, and
So
in going through high school, man, with bullying, I don't look like I do right now. I didn't look like I did going through high school. I didn't have the confidence I have now, just that unwavering confidence. I didn't have I don't even know how to explain it, but I just didn't have that kind of like go with the flow like I do now.
okay,
And have God by my side. I was really, like I said, I was skin and bones. I was just kind of walking through the hallways, just trying to do my thing. And it took a lot out of me some days just to be able to be that way. I think it was just because I was different. I was in a more vulnerable position than everybody else. I wasn't the
oh
star
sure,
athlete. I wasn't the prom king or anything like that, but I was just amongst the crowd, just doing my own thing. And it's pretty crazy to see, all the people that in high school had doubted me or picked on me from what I wanted to be, where I'm now. Some of them look at me and I can tell they have that regret or that feeling of sorrow, like, oh shit, that guy kind of he did what he said he was gonna do. And I
right.
didn't even think it'd come to this. I'm like, yeah, it's only the beginning, man. You don't even know what's coming.
And it's kind of cool because I know you see that a lot of times in movies, but you do see that in real life though too. Is you see the guy who is a little bit odd or different, or let's say a little bit slower at times, and then you see that guy just because they had to grind, right? I mean, like grit, right? That's your key word. Is they had to grit so hard to get to where they're at, and that's you, man. I mean, just like hearing about it and seeing you speak and everything you come from, because again, we've been following each other for months now, and just seeing your progression has been just incredible. How much you're trying to have that more positive, confidence building. So, what was kind of the catalyst of the beginning of making a decision to become more confident?
Um, I think just I wanted to fit in was the big thing, and I know that sounds bad looking at it now as, oh, you just want to do it to fit in. But I soon realized how much you need confidence as a man to be a leader, not only for like your family you have now, but my future wife, my future kids. I have to have that confidence and be the leader that they
Mm.
need me to be, that God wants me to be. And God placed me here to spread his will and do what he needs for the kingdom every single day. Like he put me here for a purpose. And I realized that that purpose was to inspire people and to serve people in a way that showing them they can do anything with what they're given, with the cards that they're dealt in life. So it soon hit me one day that I was like, who am I? Like I need to really buckle down and just become a leader more than ever right now, because if I don't do it now, I'm gonna have to play a lot of catch up in the future.
Oh, sure. And you're young too. I mean, 21, man, you're young. So
Yeah, man.
you got plenty of time. I mean, trust me, as someone who's pushing 30, and so you got plenty of time, man. So don't worry about that. You're still got a whole lot to learn in life. And so what are you doing now to kind of continue to build up that confidence?
Big thing I would say is just lead other people, because the
Okay.
more people I get around me, the more I know like I have people that I need to not like show up for, but I need to lead by example for, have that integrity with. Big thing is being in the weight room every day, at least 4 to 5 times a week. Obviously, because I'm training strongman now and in Spartan races and a lot of other stuff that keep me more accountable for it. But the big thing there would just be being in the weight room and being around people that are like minded.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your strongman. I just saw the pictures, and then I saw some of the videos of you just, kind of sometimes struggling. What was that thing? It was like kind of almost like a cross looking thing. It was like a pillar, but then it had like some sides to it.
Yeah, it was
I
a
don't know.
big. They call it like a Celtic cross, I believe, is what it
Okay.
is. And right in the middle, they have it welded at the bottom and a peg, and they drop plates down into there. And it's about 100
Oh,
pounds bare. It's about 100 pounds bare, and they dropped another 100 pounds in there for us.
so you lifted 200 pounds?
Yeah, carried 200 pounds, 80 feet total as fast as I could.
Oh my God, that's insane. So I'm
Yeah,
thinking like that whole thing was probably, maybe 100 pounds, maybe 120 or something like that, right? I didn't
yeah,
know they put more weight inside, and they're just like, I'm just gonna carry this.
yep. Yeah, it was about 200 pounds.
That's insane. Okay, now that video makes it look more impressive. I think you gotta add that a little bit next time. Like, hey, by the way, this is like a 200-pound thing. By the way, just add that a little bit in there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, yeah. The competition was fantastic, though, man. Like you were asking about strongman, he said you only saw pictures, a couple videos.
Yeah.
I will say though, reflecting back on it, this competition shattered a lot of disbelief that I could have like. I thought I was going to carry with me for a long time. And it all
Wow.
started with just a roundtable conversation last July. I was in Indiana with Matt Moore and Adam Sikora sitting at a roundtable. We were just sitting at our Airbnb eating some food, and the other guys were outside in the yard playing with a frisbee. And those guys were like, "We got a plan for you." And I was like, "Oh boy!" And when those guys say they got a plan, like they mean it.
Yes, they do. Especially those
You
guys.
think they're bullshitting you, but they weren't. So they eventually said, "You're doing." Yeah, they said, You're doing strongman next year." I looked at him with the most bizarre look, like, me, strongman? I'm built like a bodybuilder, like a thin bodybuilder, does powerlifting. You want me to do strongman? They're like, yes, you're doing strongman. And for the next hour, we kind of debated it, and they poured so much belief into me that I was like, I can't say no to this. And pretty soon, those guys said how much it would inspire other people despite what I have, because most people wouldn't even think about competing in strongman without a disorder like I have. So I
Right.
eventually hired Matt for coaching, and we worked about the next 15 weeks together. I scrapped together all extra money I could to buy a log press, buy some Atlas stones to get molded, and sandbags and everything else, farmer carry handles and belts and all this stuff, and tacky to use for the stones. And, I had to get really creative with my setup and where I was going because I was limited on space, but I made it work. And seeing it all come together was just the coolest thing. Like the stone I had for comp weight, I couldn't even pick that one up off the ground 4 months prior, and then I soon was throwing it over a 54-inch bar for reps. Or the deadlift ladder that I had at like most numbers that I was doing there were just previous PRs 12 weeks prior. And, I had never done a lot of these movements until about 10 weeks before the competition. So there's a lot of
Wow.
shattering disbelief and having other guys join in the process with me and just seeing it all come together and really showing that I can do anything I set my mind to. There's a lot of days that I did doubt myself. I'm not going to beat around the bush with anybody. There's days where I question, why am I even here? But then there's
Mhm.
days where I was like, I'm meant to be here.
Yeah.
And I went in there saying, I just want to complete all these events best I can with a smile on my face. And I did just that. And it was just a great experience overall. And it's only the start for me, man. Definitely not my last competition.
Well, you know me, man. I'm be supporting you on your journey, and I just want to see you just crush. No longer be like the 11th place that I saw that you posted, which is incredible, right? Because that's a good starting place. Because now there's only room for improvement and going up, especially like like barely hitting some PRs, and then all of a sudden hit week 10 and 12, and you're just crushing things. I mean,
Mhm.
that's impressive. So, I mean, you're definitely strong. I mean, I know you do those posts of your transformation journey, and obviously we'll have that a little bit up here too. And that's just incredible. You went from, yeah, looking a little bit, thin to just jacked.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Putting on 16 pounds through the prep was like the coolest thing too. I was like, all right, I'm finally getting somewhere. I'm getting a little thick now.
So, what is your diet? Because I know with the disease you have, I know it kind of deteriorates pretty quickly, and you kind of have to always like either be working out, getting like that 4 to 6 times. What about your diet? What's your diet look like just to maintain that kind of build?
A lot of protein. Protein's always a big focus in the meals. I don't have to worry a crazy amount about diet because, I'll say my metabolism's very fast, I will say. But that
Right.
doesn't make me neglect anything. I still eat very clean throughout the week, and then the weekends I'll have whatever I want in moderation, whether that's like a pizza for the night or
Right.
something there. But I always focus on protein during my meals, eat my carbs around my training and just load up on them. And then, lots of salt, good amount of fats during the day, and just I keep it relatively healthy just because I know I don't want to put on a bunch of excess fat that I need to eventually lose. So just want to maintain a good posture and physique with that.
Yeah, well, you definitely do, man. I mean, like I said, especially with how much you're just working to improve, you are going to need all that protein and the good carbs.
Hmm. Yep.
So make sure you get those eggs in. I mean, that's like the best thing about Twitter is all the eggs.
That's right, man. 6 a day is what I roll with every day.
6 a day.
Yep.
Okay. That's what I'm talking. I think I did that one day. I did 6 eggs just because I didn't want to. I had like one egg left. I'm like, there's no way I can probably just stomach this. But that's impressive. I'm always impressed by how many times like I've seen people post like eggs, different styles of eggs, and how much eggs. I'm like, oh man, I got some room to go because like
That's right. That's right, man. We'll be buying out whole farms before we know it from which we eat.
you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I have thought about wanting to buy chickens, like doing some homesteading, get some chickens. That way, I always have eggs.
That's right, man. That's right. Yeah, I'm lucky. I got to hook up with a coworker that's got like she gets about 2 dozen a day, so I'll get like a dozen every couple days from her for a few bucks, and I got an in there. So,
Nice.
mhm.
You know what? Connections is everything.
That's right, dude. That's the best thing about social media, man. Is like Twitter. I mean, we would have never met. We would never be talking on this podcast if it wasn't for
No.
Twitter. And it's just crazy to see how everything comes into fruition with I mean social media can be a dangerous tool, but if you use it to your advantage, I mean you can accomplish great things. And out of my main circle even this last year, it came from social media. If it wasn't for the devices we're talking on, I would never have met any of you guys. I wouldn't be finding like-minded people or knowing how to level up all the time, learning the things I have, investing in the mentors, and getting the honor of
Mhm.
being on your podcast, man, speaking to the people.
Yes. Same here. That's why, it's like one of those things that unfortunately, because you see like on the news, you see everything just posts about social media and everything. And yes, there's some dangers to it, but it's all about the algorithm. Like if you like the only people I will follow are people who are like now in fitness, mindset, and like health and wellness.
Hmm.
And when you do that and that's all you see, then that's gonna be like how it's gonna affect your mind. Like, I'm glad we connected. Like I get to hear your story. I get to have an opportunity to, use that to share it with other people. Because I'm sure there's another Austin, who's probably awkwardly walking through high school who has that dream of being a strongman, but it's like, no, can I do this? And having you on here to speak to masses and doing what you want to do to work on your story, to have that opportunity for you to do that, it's a blessing. There's no other way to say it. It's a
Hmm.
blessing on both our ends to reach people, to help people, and to provide a platform for you to tell your story, so that way you can speak to that Austin again, or someone else who has a different disease that says, okay, I may not have this disease that he has, but I have something else.
Hmm.
Let that be motivation to go and do what you want to do, especially when you're crushing your records. I mean, there's nothing better than when you break a PR that you've been working for like months on.
Absolutely, dude. That was my big one, was hitting a 315 squat was like the biggest thing next to lifting that stone for strongman, because looking back, like I said, when I couldn't do an air squat 4 years ago,
Yeah.
to moving forward to doing 3 wheels on a squat was like, it took a ton of time, a lot of reps and practice, but
Right.
breaking through that 300 rep range up to that was just insane. Was like, I like, just, it builds so much confidence. I believe building confidence is doing what you say you're going to do. And I've told so many people I'm going to squat 315 pounds. It's be like, okay, yeah, I see it, but then there's those rare few that will really hype you up to it. And then it's like, all right, look at it now. Like, I'm building the confidence. I'm going to do everything I say I can do.
Yeah. And if you get to 330 or 350, I'm saying it right now. Let's see that video. I want to see that video. I want to see you get all hyped when you do it. I want to see that beast inside you just come out that you did
Oh, dude,
that.
you're going to see it. You're going to be one of the first ones to see it.
All right. I'm gonna hold that to you.
Absolutely, man. I'll be sharing with the community, Twitter, everybody, man. I'll personally DM you the video just to get you hyped for the day.
Oh, hey, just what gets me hyped for the day is honestly just seeing your passion from where you came from. And even from when I've known you, how much you're improving, whether that be in your faith, whether that be in your vulnerability, whether that be in just honesty of things and what you're going through. I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, that's what hypes me up. It's just how much zest you have for life, how much love you have for life, and how much you're willing to sacrifice to do what you want to do. I mean, I know you work like a lot of hours. I know you were on call, and that's obviously not easy. And you're still hitting the gym. You're still going outside. You're still going for those walks. I mean, I remember when we were on some Zoom meetings, and you'd be outside just going for a walk.
That's right, man. Yeah, it's all crazy how much it's a blessing of what I have. I will say putting God at the forefront this last year is the reason for my most success. And,
Mm.
I think a lot of people use that and people can call it cliche, but it's the truth, because until you truly know God and you can see what he can bring into your life, I like to tell people I wasn't given this disorder. I was blessed with this disorder because God had a
Ooh,
purpose for me.
it's so hard to see that as a blessing when you have something, because you know how much harder you have to work to achieve something. Whether
Hmm.
you're working 2, 3 times harder than the guy next to you, whether it be genetics or just, supplements or what have you, that you still have to work 2 to 3 times harder than someone to get what you desire.
Yep.
So just to have that kind of growth mindset, that mindset of a victor versus a victim, it speaks volumes.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and it wasn't easy, man. Like I said, the victim mindset was there for a little bit, but I hit a few years back and I was like, this is enough of this. This ain't happening. I'm not going to let this carry in every other area of my life. And it's only blossomed from there, and it's still blossoming every day.
That's awesome. And that's why it's so key is having the right people around you. And that's why I love the community, you know, that we're both a part of with Elevate.
Mhm.
And because it's needed. Without communities, without tribes, I mean, we would maintain that victim mindset because it's easy, right? That's the easy path. The hard path is to view things as a positive, and not just like, hey, everything's great and wonderful, but it's like, this is your situation, this is the cards you've been dealt with. Use it to inspire, use it to
Mhm.
prove. I know the common saying that gets kind of used is like to prove others wrong. I like to take a different spin on it when I say prove yourself right. Prove
Mhm.
yourself right that you can do this, that you can follow your dreams and do what you want to do, and that you're going to be willing to put in all the work. Because that way it becomes more, I think it becomes more of a blessing, because it's kind of prideful to kind of say, well, I'm going to prove you all wrong, that you guys have nobody, versus more humility, which is like, you know what? I owe it to myself to try.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's a great point. Rather than doing it for other people, you do it for yourself. You do it for the
Mhm.
man above that blessed you with everything you have. it's so cool that you mentioned that, because I think I even fall short of that a lot of times. I still, because I struggled immensely with comparing myself to other people. I mean, being the underdog in almost every situation that I went through in life, it still haunts me to this day. Sometimes I got to do things for me and God, not for everyone else around me.
Yeah, I literally have in my office, I literally have it posted by Theodore Roosevelt that comparison is a thief of joy.
Amen to that, bro. Amen to that. Seriously.
And we all do it because I think it's because that's what we see. I mean, that's what we see, all the time growing up, right? And the most common one is either having some challenges walking, or someone sees your height and you're not as tall as the other guy. And you could be a shorter guy. Like I'm only 5'5". You'll probably look like about 6 foot something.
Yeah, about 6'4".
6'4". Okay, you're okay. Nice. That's awesome, right? But still, so obviously that's kind of more difficult when you have to walk, because especially to squats. I know it's tougher for a lot of taller guys from what I've been learning, because I guess how far you guys can go down. And correct me if I'm ever wrong, because obviously you've been doing this a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, no, it's that's one excuse too I had, because I've always been a tall kid. I think I hit like 6 foot when I was like 15 years old. Like I was
Nice.
extremely tall, and that was a big thing too. I played the excuse in my head of I can't do these leg movements because I'm so tall. It's like no, that's just the victim mindset. That's the
Yeah.
lower self playing into you. Just don't let it feed into you, because I believe that we entertain the thoughts that come into our head, every thought that entertains, and it's up to us to choose which ones we entertain, because that's going to directly control the outcome of our situations.
That's right. And that just means you have to do it every single day. I mean, those thoughts come in our minds, whether you want to call them intrusive thoughts or if you want to call them supplemental beliefs. I mean, those are thoughts that are going to come to you every single day. And we have to make that decision. This is where it really becomes that victim mindset. Are we going to entertain these thoughts? Are we going to listen to those thoughts? Or are we going to just say, acknowledge that the thought's there and then just move on? But okay, cool. Got other areas of my life to continue to improve upon, because that's life. Life is constantly improving. And the more I talk to people, and I talk to people, of all different economic statuses, races, and everything on a daily basis. And, people who have a lot of money to no money. And you'll find really quickly, if you talk to people and listen to them long enough, that everyone is faced with some type of challenge or supplement belief or insecurity or fear.
Hmm. Yeah, I believe that too. I believe that you can only run and hide for so long from your insecurities and your weaknesses that'll catch up to you, because I don't care who you are, who you're standing in front of, who you make it look like they don't exist to you. Behind closed doors, behind anything else, people have a lot that they're dealing with. And that's where I really love the Elevate community coming into play, because like you say, we as men need community. We need each other more than ever now. The suicide rates are climbing up. Everybody's so just alone now. So many people are behind screens and they just don't know what get out means more and meet more people. And this is just a great opportunity for that. Just to be around other people that are going to do the same things and help push you and improve your life.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned suicide, because that's one of my passions, is to help, especially with men. Because for us, for as long as I've been studying, mental health, psychology, I mean, men have always been 4 times more likely to commit suicide than females. I mean, that stat's been like that for a long time. There's a lot of different variables that go into it, but it's just one of those passions that it's like, if we can reduce that number, even by just say, I always do this. One of the models I will use is one life, save one life, impact one life.
Mhm.
It's one life at a time that we really focus on saving, because that could create a ripple effect, a chain reaction where it gives another guy inspiration not to harm themselves, and really find a community to join and be a part of, because men are lonely. I talk to a lot of guys that are lonely, they're insecure, they don't really have a good solid group, and that's why I love Twitter, because you know it's easier to find those kind of guys to help inspire you, whether you just hop on a call or a connection call like what we've done, and be like, it's like, wow, you have those same thoughts, like, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
and like that way we can build each other up.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I think God really placed the community in front of me at the most perfect time. It was like right when it started with like 5 members, so it didn't really seem like what it is now when I joined, but it was at like the most perfect time, because I didn't think there was anybody else on the face of the planet that seemed to do what I do. And there's a few, but I
Yeah.
didn't realize there was these online communities being built. I didn't realize that there was these opportunities to meet people and just get on a call. I didn't think people were that genuine or that easygoing with it. And
Same here.
one phone call with Matt, who runs the community, one of my best friends right now. I mean, he's like, it was crazy. I just one free phone call with him that he posted about connected me to now over 100 people that are in the community. I've been on podcasts, spoke at church. The doubts that I've overcame, just one phone call can change it so much. And I love that, seeing the lives that we've changed and prevented a lot from that. We may not even know that they were struggling with the depression or
Yeah.
anxiety or suicide, because it takes a lot for guys to get vulnerable and open up if they've never been a part of something like that. So I believe
Right.
that we're definitely changing lives in there all around.
Oh, 100%. And it's like learning how to deal with a guy too, where guys sometimes we just have to call each other out, and that's where we respect each other. Like obviously when we use like one of the most like common words, a guy's not okay, is when he says fine. I mean, we
That's
can
right.
all laugh about it, but we all know it's true. We use the word fine. It's just like, okay, dude, what's up? And obviously that guy may not open up or want to talk about it, but there's something powerful in like, okay, listen, I know you don't want to talk about it, but when you're ready, you better be hitting me up.
Hmm.
Because if not, I'm gonna be following up. And when a guy actually does follow up, I think that gives that other guy like, okay, you're actually here for me. Like you actually care about me and appreciate me, that you're not just calling me out, but now you're following up. So now you've done two things, and to really know the person is like truly caring and investment in them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I truly believe. I kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah. So with following up, I think authenticity is what I was going to go on.
Yeah.
I think truly authenticity is hard to find in this world, and having a community like we do in Twitter, outside of that circle, it's very hard to find people that are as authentic as we are and intentional. And that's one of the things that I really struggle with, is trying to spread myself, because I think when I started this journey, I expected other people to be like that, be as authentic and intentional. And it was really kind of
Mhm.
a letdown, but to be able to pour that into other people was really good as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a big risk, right, to open yourself up to somebody because we've all been scarred. We've all thought we trusted somebody and then just things didn't go well. And I know I shared a personal story about that. So it's like, you think you trust someone until you realize that they've done something, right? And
Hmm.
now one experience can shape other experiences. Like, okay, is it still okay to like open up? I mean, especially when you find out with people who have a good interest in you, but just it's how's the execution, like how's the delivery? That's the question. Because I always think people have good intentions, but the delivery needs a little bit of work.
That's right, man. And I believe too, when I was talking earlier about sandbagging my story, is
Yeah,
everybody has an individualized story that is not the same. Everybody has something different. I don't care what journey you're on, or if you've been on the same one as
right.
someone else. Not every little detail down to a T is the same. Everybody's had different experiences, and that's what I believe, everybody's special in their own way too. It's like, I believe it's their obligation to share out their story, because you never know who you're going to impact. I mean, look at the people we've impacted through just
Yeah,
this, and how many lives we've helped, like you said, following up, being authentic and intentional with that. I just believe that, you know being those two things are some of the best things that this world's truly lost.
yeah. I couldn't agree more with you, and that's why this podcast is called Men of Action, so that way we can stop being men of inaction, because men have kind of fallen on the wayside of things, and
Hmm.
kind of start picking our lives back up in a very positive, real, authentic manner. That's for the common guy that just needs support, needs community, and wants to better their lives. Because I think people are hungry; they just don't know what to do, because they watch all these motivational videos, they watch all these like how to get their lives better, and they get so captivated by all of it. And then obviously one of the most common themes you see in Twitter is that paralysis by analysis. Like when you realize and take a step back of how difficult it is to change your life, how difficult it is to do a 180, especially when you feel lost and broken, you don't even know where to start.
Yeah, and I think that's where social media can really kill a lot of people as far as motivation, because people only see the highlights. They only see the good stuff. They don't see the bad days, the doubts, the failures, all
Right.
that. And, that's one thing I try to do is because I fail a lot. I'm not going to lie to
Right.
you. I mean, even to this day, I don't care how good I've gotten at a squat. I still fail. Deadlift, lunging, whatever that is that I struggled with. I still fail every day because I put myself in those situations. And I try to be very intentional about not caring what other people think and posting my failures on there, because I believe that people get so caught up in seeing what people do and they think, oh, this is just sunshine and rainbows the whole time. They don't understand how difficult it truly is.
Yeah, yeah, I know. As you know, like that's one of the biggest decisions I've tried making too, is just being a little bit more vulnerable and like open about like, hey, not every day is gonna be a great day. Not
Hmm.
every day is gonna be like hype. And I know there's a lot of people who might say like, oh my gosh, dude, you have like unlimited supply of energy. It's like, yeah, you see that for like a brief moment. You don't see like crashing or like trying to figure out how to plan different things. So, and that's
Hmm.
what I appreciate about you though too. I mean, I really do, because I see you post who your wins and the times you learn, and just kind of like. But the one thing I do appreciate about you that I see a lot is like you don't stay down. Like you have that grit about you that you don't stay down. Like you might be down for a minute, and that might be a couple hours, that might be a few days, but it's never longer than past that. And then you're like back to, all right, back to the drawing board. Okay, let's figure this out, because clearly I don't want to go back. And I think that's what's also very empowering when we do take time to reflect about our past. It's not that we get down about it. We might for again a couple of seconds, but it's that reminder us of who we don't want to go back to. And that's why there's with the Mulligan brothers, there's a motivational one with a monk, and he was talking about a mistake. And I've been kind of teaching on this really as of late, 'cause I love the concept. He says, when you do something wrong the first time, it is not a mistake because you have an opportunity to correct it. He says the mistake comes from when you repeat it over and over again because you're not willing to learn from it.
Hmm.
That is the true mistake. And when I heard him speak about that, that just gave me a whole different outlook about what really is a mistake. And that's just not learning from it.
Hmm.
And in both our cases, it's not going back to the person who we were.
Hmm.
And it's striving to become better and become the best version of ourselves. And that's for our life. I mean, we're always going to be striving to be better.
Yeah, I mean, amen to that, man. That's a great point that you bring up, because I look back at a lot of who I used to be, and I'm like, man, as much as I love, like, I don't have any regrets of where I am now, because I wouldn't be here unless I went through those tough times. But I also am like, I got to be better than I was yesterday. And I think a lot of that came from learning. Like you said, you see me kind of like, I'll get down sometimes. I'm not gonna lie to you. I post about it, and then
Yeah.
I get back to the drawing board. But that came with a lot of time and patience to get to there, because, starting wrestling, it took me 6 years just to get my first win, get my first hand
Really? It
raise.
took you 6 years to get your first win.
Yeah, started in like
Wow.
kindergarten, went all the way up until sixth grade just to get my first hand raise at there, and then it took me another 5 years just to get on varsity full time once I hit high school. Because I started seventh grade on the varsity side of things, and it took
Mhm.
me 5 years to get up to that rank, and it came with a lot of downfalls of like just kind of slowly tricking down, just because I couldn't learn from to get back to the drawing board, to get back to a better mindset. And obviously I was young, but I was
Yeah.
very ignorant. It took me a lot of time though to get to a position now where I can just let it go within even a day's time at most, if that. But I can just get back to there and be like, all right, another day, another opportunity. God's presented it. We got to attack. Let's get it.
That's impressive, because so many kids would just quit. They
Yeah,
didn't get
dude.
their first win. So so many kids would be like, well, I hate this. This is stupid. I'm
Mhm.
not winning. And I know you said your dad, I believe, did wrestling, right?
Yeah, he's the one that got me into it. And it's funny, even like for as hard as my parents were into wrestling and, wanting us to do it, even there came a point in like high school where they were just like, "Are you sure you want to keep doing this?" They see us struggling, but I'm like, just something about it tells me I need to keep going. And that's where I got blessed with wrestling in the state tournament. My senior year, I got to wrestle at state, and I got to be a captain all year. So that was really
Nice.
a special time.
That shows you how much grit you have. And like another famous line goes, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't show up.
Yep, that's a big
I think
one in
that one
wrestling.
Sean Cano, so I can't take credit for that one.
Yep, it's on the backs of a bunch of wrestling shirts. I'd go to tournaments when I was younger, and I'd see that quote like 100 times, and it stuck with me. Like I can still remember it at like 6, 7 years old, seeing that.
Wow. I just heard that quote maybe like 2.5 years ago.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
it's the truth, man. Like that's one of my living epitomes that I like to say is I don't have a crazy amount of talents for what I do. I just knew how to put my head down to the grindstone and just work.
yeah, and that's why you're so successful. I mean, honestly, just that hard work and that grit, that daily reminder, and it's because of all that now you got a higher calling, a calling to inspire others. I remember when you posted having the opportunity to speak in church, I'm like, good, because that's practice. Because soon, man, you're gonna be speaking to the nations. You're gonna be
That's
speaking. I don't know why. I just had that just that thought process. Like it just happened like immediately. Like, you know what? He looks so comfortable having the mic, sitting down and just talking. Like he looked comfortable. He didn't look nervous. He didn't look anxious. I'm sure you're feeling all that stuff on the inside, right?
hmm
But there's just something about your presence in that picture that just like looks like what he's supposed to do. Just speak into people's lives about overcoming obstacles, whether that be physical, mental impairment, nothing that was your fault or anything like that, and just really speaking words of encouragement to someone in need.
hmm
And like you just had that vibe, you had that look, and you just like I wish I don't know if you have like a recording of that video with the
I
church,
do.
but I would love.
It's on YouTube, man. I got it. I can send it to you.
Yeah, send it. Yeah, send it and to me, and I'll make sure I put that definitely in the descriptions below because you know what? Spread some God, spread some hope, spread some cheer, and spread some that you can overcome the odds. And I definitely want to watch that. I want to see you speak and just to see how powerful that picture looked, and now to see the video behind the look.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, like you said, I was full of nervousness. Like the devil was trying to tear me down minute by minute as they're playing worship music before they introduce like everybody, and they play a quick little video, and then I'm up right away. And I can't tell you, like the devil was trying to make me stutter on my words, like just start yawning in the middle of it, and just, dude, it was insane. Like trying to not focus on stuff. But once I got prayers from all you guys in the community and Twitter, and just started posting about it, like I saw, all right, like I'm feeling better now. And it's crazy the power of God in His house was like with me there the whole time. And what's crazy is I didn't even have to think about what I said, even though it
Mhm.
was like the second time. But I said it a little bit different in each one. I didn't have a script. I just went off basic memory. I felt as if like God was speaking through me. I didn't have to say a word. I just like it was just coming out like just naturally. And like I said, every time was a little bit different. I missed a couple little things, but
Sure.
being my pastor just said, he goes, "Hey, there's a timer up there. He goes, you'll see it. Just go at about the 10-minute mark if you can and keep it within that range." And I went like perfectly to 10 without even having to think. And I got done after the
Nice.
third time, and I was like, man, I don't even know what I just said up there. Like that was not me speaking. Like, and it was
Yeah.
insane. How like my nerves just eased and seeing the power of God through that, because that was like the beginning of my faith too, man. Like I didn't understand God. I didn't understand the church a crazy amount. I was just kind of there learning on the go, like I am even to this day. But I was just so like, whoa, this is pretty crazy. The power that I have within me right now.
It really is because the more that you grow into your faith, you're still going to feel nervous. You're still going to feel a little bit anxious about it. That doesn't necessarily go away. What changes and what really impacts is when you allow God to work, like when you become the vessel and you just have to open up your mouth. And when you have ideas and thoughts just come out of your mouth that you're like, where did that come from? Because that's not at all what I was thinking. Truly know that God is speaking through you. You know
Mm,
that the Holy Spirit in you is speaking, and you're just being obedient and opening your mouth to form the first word, then it's just history.
yep.
So the more that you grow in your faith, the more and more that will happen. Where I mean, so many times ideas and thoughts that you didn't have before will just come to you, and or you don't necessarily know the impact of a word you give and what you do and like how you post and how much that resonates with people. So just keep on growing, man, in your faith, and still allowing God to take control and help you, and you'll be amazed by how many lives you'll touch. And I just see that within you. I see it right now. I swear to talk right now, man. You're just like lining up, man. It's just like you got a special glow about you right now too. Whether it's the lighting, a little bit of both, but like you just look just like so enthralled in everything that you can accomplish. So, as we all know, was it Philippians? Was it 3:13? Which says, "I can do all things through Christ." Something.
Yeah, Philippians 4:13. I can
Oh,
do all
4:13.
Christ who
Okay, off
strengthens
by
me.
just one verse. Not too bad. I'll take that.
Yep, absolutely, man. Yeah, that's one of my first verses I ever learned. It's probably the most popular one you hear of, but it still holds true, man.
Hey, it's like cliches, right? They're there for a reason and they're repeated for a reason because as people, we forget easy, right? We really do. When we allow fear and doubt and insecurity to rule our lives, it happens so easily that we forget. That's why we need to always have those like key things always at the forefront of our minds and our hearts, more importantly.
Mhm.
So, I got between that one and John 14:27 is another one, where that one discusses I think it's peace I give you, peace I live you. I'll post it up here. So
Mhm.
that's a
I
I think
think of
it's
it myself. It goes along the lines of that, though.
yeah, I think it goes like peace I live you, peace I give you, not as the world gives, but as I give.
Mhm.
Something like that. I'll make sure we post up here because you know what? Just have a good moment to express some God right now on this podcast, and having people who believe to give that hope to someone who else needs, and also show no one's perfect on this podcast, and we're just all taking action and learning together and just having fun.
That's right, man. Action is everything. God's leading it.
Amen. So as we kind of wrap up things, what's something you kind of want to leave off with someone maybe that was in your shoes or someone who's maybe just going through like a lot of doubts or insecurities?
Keep going. Just keep going. Don't ever quit, because the minute you quit is the minute you solidify in your mind that it's okay to do. There's obviously a time and place to stop something, move on to the next task. But I truly believe if you keep going, it could lead down so many roads, and it just keeps narrowing off into a whole bunch more opportunities, and you never know who you're going to meet. So I guess if anybody out there is struggling, just keep going. Just find new ways to grow, new ways to learn, new people to be involved with. And if this podcast finds you, just know it's God work, and it's your sign to keep going.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. Because Austin, you are a man of action. You are someone who has reclaimed your life and you're constantly working in your life and consistently being at it, being that strong man. I can't wait for your next competition. I can't wait for the opportunity to actually now meet you in person. I mean, that's going to be one of the things. I know I'm not doing the Spartan race this time, but I'm looking at the House of Steel in October. I'm looking at that kind of date. So,
Yeah,
man, one
but
of these days we're going to meet each other, man, and it's just going to be a blessing because, man, you blessed my life. And so, and also bless your life. So make sure you go follow him. All his social media things will be in the description below. Support him on his journey. And if you're interested in being a strongman, hey, I'm sure you can learn from this guy because heck, I'm always being inspired. That's how I got inspired to want to squat 300. Not there yet, but progress is progress. So go be a man of action, take your life back, and be blessed.